friends, this is Rick, and I'm Rick, and this is your seat at the table. And we have reached the literal end of my Star Wars collection. And of course, this is not a West End Games book publication for the actual game itself. This is Star Wars: The Essential Atlas. I ran across this at Hamilton Booksellers. It's an online internet used and slightly damaged seller of books. They also put out nice little catalogs, and so I got this about half price from what it was. There's a whole little series of books like this based on the Sith and the Jedi, characters and vehicles and planets and so on and so forth, that was produced by these fine folks, and they're all worth a having. I've viewed a few of them, I read a couple, borrowed them from the library, but I didn't have the resources to purchase them all from my shelves, and some of them are redundant with all the game material I already have, so I didn't see a value of tapping on it. This one, on the other hand, really stood out because, as you know, if you've played in Star Wars of any kind, whether it's the video games or tabletop board gaming, what have you, or just a fan of the movies and the books, it is such a large, vast, galactic-sized canvas. There's million worlds, literally, and you couldn't visit a percent of all of them in your lifetime if you lived in that galaxy or just as a player tapping into it. So, but having an idea of just the sheer size and vastness of the game is great. So that's what this book comes into play, in my opinion. I've used it quite extensively since I've got it. It gave me a lot of material, basic stuff for what we want to do and where we want to go, and the maps are spectacular, right? I missed out on a chance of getting a wall-size poster version of this, and I really wish I had because it really pops, it really stands out, and it makes for a nice, these maps and stuff make a nice player aid for understanding things. So we got systems, sectors, oversectors, and regions, definitions and explanations of how these were, the deep core itself. So we get what's known of the deep core, some basic information on it. Then we have core worlds. When members gripe at the right center of the universe, no finer elaboration is required. While not literally the center of the galaxy, the ring of stars and planets hugging this bulging axis is a region steeped in superlatives. The core is the source of the Republic, the birthplace of the human species, and the undisputed hub of galactic culture, finance, high-tech, and education and fine arts. Those who don't live here wish they did, say its residents. So we have the core itself. So we have the most populated and most common planets thereof. You'll notice that the western regions are unexplored. Astrocartography, naval computers, and trade routes. Space is life. The colony regions. The colonies, the galaxy population gives you the most densest sectors with the most densest populations. And you can see that in and around the Coruscant core section of being the most, it says they're red being 100 billion to 500 billion, and anything in white is 500 billion or higher. So there's some tiny little splotches where Coruscant obviously has 500 billion or higher population. And we got some breakdown of some interesting areas: Arrowhead, Northern Dependency, the Negs. The Negs was always an interesting location. It's way back up in here behind Coruscant, and the way it works as Coruscant as the astrogation key point is 0, 0, 0. So the first one is north and south, the second one is east and west, and the third number is up and down, nadir and zenith. Unless I got the first two backwards, let's just say. First representing west to east, second north south, and third up and down. So anything that was west and northwest to Coruscant started getting negative numbers, so -1, -3, -0, whatever. And so they call it the Negs. And it's kind of a backwater in a very populous neck of the galaxy. And so I ran a couple campaigns based out of it. It's pretty great. Just the idea of operating in the Negs, right? So the inner rim, expansion region, information on that, the various wonders of the galaxy, the dawn period of Agru, statue of Xim the Undesiro, the Coruscant ice crypts, right? The mid rim, Nice map for the mid-rim. Client states of the Empire, the Corporate Second Authority, the Hapes Consortium, Hut Space, and others. Always keep that in mind, just because what pops up in the books and the movies is just a slice, it's just a teasing of the possibilities and such a vastness of the universe. You come, and I did this at least twice where I had campaigns that were completely set up in areas of the galaxy that had never, literally never been touched except by my players and my imagination. And that's the beautiful thing about this game franchise. It's so blasted big. There's so much opportunity, both in vastness of space, but also in the time range. So there's 25,000 years of Republic history alone, and there's pre-Republic and post-Republic. So you can have a campaign set way in the past, way in the future. Just a matter of what the amount of work and imagination you and your players are willing to put into it. Hut space, detail, closer look at hut space in the neighboring regions, talking about all the planets and systems and some blurbs on them. The Outer Rim territories, wild space in the unknown regions, which is that area up there. Miscellaneous regions, globular cluster, and satellite galaxy. So not only is it enough do we have a galaxy full of places and things and people and stuff, we also have enough globular clusters and micro galaxies orbiting the galaxy that are within hyperspace reach to tap into as well. So, you know, the Hieroglyphic space, the Botar Enclave, the Kellic regions, Papapori, you know, Client states and miscellaneous regions, part 2, planets of the galaxy, and there's literally 40 of these, and they cover, and I'm not going to go through all of them. I just, you know, you can't read them all in here. You could probably do a mini video on every one of these planets and the information that's provided and what we know in the game's perspective that's available for them. Otherwise, the only reason they're in here and highlighted is because at some point they were part of one of the major prefers species for play, or popped up in the movies and or referenced in the books and things like this. So, you know, it just makes for some really good access material. And of course, the color visuals are great player candy for the game setting on the table, so on and so forth, right? I always found this to be a little bit disingenuous. I don't think it's that kind of shape, but what do I know? It's just like I'm not a big fan. There's much better visual representations of the Kuwait system than this, but you still get the idea, right? So, I mean, it is what it is what it isn't, and it can't be everything. It can just try to be something, which is what we all try to do, right? I mean, there's literally scores of systems in here and planets that they've highlighted, and it's really, you know, a great addition. And then we get into the other sections of things: the Atlas of Galactic History, various interesting creatures, the Qua, the Shrew, the Klunli, the Klilix, humans and Tangs, the Raccoon Infinite Empire, Conquest of Zim the Despot, in his era, origins of Jedi and Sith, galactic exploration, major trade routes explained. They list most of the major ones. The slice, great spacefaring species. Most of these are just capping on what we already know. Ancient mysteries of the galaxy, the great hyperspace war, the Sith Empire, great Sith War, Mandalorian Wars, the Jedi Civil War, or the Second Sith War, depending on how you look at it, the Mandalorians, the Fall of the Republic, Zenith of the Republic, the Kant's Disorders, Hapes Cluster, the Hadean Way. I ran a whole campaign based out of the Hapes Cluster. The idea of nobility and pirates and noble houses, you know, founded on being pirates. It's just it's appealing in a number of ways. It also gives you a flavor and an idea of just what else could be in the galaxy, because it's so vast and so large. The Galactic Empire doesn't, while it tries to control everything with an iron fist, it's not true. I mean, there's just literally so much space that they just give a nod and a push and only turn their baleful eye on it when it becomes a problem for them on a bigger scale. Ascent into Darkness, Sidious Preparations, some great reading, some great filling in the blanks and giving us information. Phantom Menace, Outbound Flight, the Clone Wars, Attack of the Clones, Clone Wars in detail, closer look at Kashyyyk and its neighbors. I mean, like I said, these maps are just beautiful maps, and I've used them for player aids and color Xerox copies on them number of times. Imperial Atrocities, Exploits of Lando Calrissian, The Adventures of Han Solo, Corporate Sector, The Centrality. Once again, areas of the Galactic Empire that are so obscure yet have ties into the bigger grand scheme of things because of the key players, the key characters. Princess and Pearl, Ultimate Power in the Universe, closer look at Yavin and the Gordian Reach, New Hope, Yavin and the Gordian Reach. Famous Shadow Ports. I like this one. I use this one a number of times because it's nice to have a ready-made reference to say, okay, we need to go, our players need a place to hold up or downtime or get some repairs, spend some loot, whatever, and it's just convenient to say, oh, well, let's go here. You're closest to this one. Let's go here. Right? Flashpoints in the Galactic Civil War, the spice trade, closer look at Hoth and the Greater Jabin. I mean, in the movies, it was always interesting to note that after the hyperdrive failed, they blasted off the Hoth, Han, Leia, and Chewbacca were able to limp their way by the secondary hyperdrive. That the Falcon and most large-scale ships or moderate-sized base-carrying ships have their main hyperdrive, and then they have a backup, which is much slower and much more limited. So to understand just how close Bespin was to Hoth, now we really understand just how Hoth is off of a backwater ice-on corridor, which is actually the only reason to really go out there was Bespin in the first place, and just getting here from there, it just shows how remote it was close enough to the major trade routes to be conducive for being a rebel base and the headquarters for the Rebel Alliance, but yet just remote enough to not really see a lot of traffic. Most of it would be heading for Bespin at best. Hoth would be a jump spot and turnaround kind of thing. It wouldn't land there for any particular reason. Endor in the Moldor sector, same problem, or same idea with Endor. Endor was just off of several of the major secondary routes that made it reasonably easy for the Empire to ship the vast amount of materials needed to build the Death Star, etc., but yet still remote enough to be considered a no-more backwater. So just one of thousands or tens of thousands of potential backwaters that are the bread and butter of most Star Wars campaigns for most people. Fragmented Empire, Advance of the New Republic, Rogue Squadron campaigns, the Thrawn era, Imperial Restoration, under Thrawn or attempts, the Old Empires, Thrawn's campaign, various after the Great Galactic Empire started to break up, so you got a different set of, the Pentastar Alignment, Zinzi's Empire, the Greater Maldrude, the Iridan Authority, so on and so forth. So, Decline and Fall, the Dark Empire, a lot of good material and stuff. Great book. Had loads and loads of hours of entertainment and reading material out of it. I've gone back and reread it numerous times, hit and miss. Resource material for my game campaigns and things like this. Anyway, so like I said, for all you guys who have subscribed to my channel, in over 5 years, we reached 267, 268. It kind of fluctuates up and down a little bit. We've seen a significant increase the last few months. Attribute some of that to BattleTech. I also, when I go out and I go to other people's websites and view other people's YouTube stuff that's related to my game interests, I occasionally will drop a link saying, a great topic, great subject, and here's my thought on that, or this is my 20 cents worth video, and link to my channel. And sometimes it gains a new interested subscriber, sometimes it doesn't. It doesn't matter, because I'm never going to get to reach the level where it can make any kind of money off of it. It still amazes me how some of my associates have several thousand subscribers and have maintained them, considering the lackadaisical nature of their channels. They're hit and miss. Obviously, the ones with more resources and time or more skills than I am capable of doing have many, many more subscribers, and they have great content. Absolutely. But they don't cover everything. And while I agree that a lot of these shorter videos are probably best, you miss out. There's so much information, you can't pack it into 10 minutes or less. You can try, but you're not doing it justice. So I think there's always a place for much more lengthier discussions on a particular topic or subject, and you'll see that. I have covered all the material I currently own for the Star Wars campaign universe. That's not to say that I won't acquire some down the road from the secondhand bins there at JCD and Hobby in Des Moines, but and when I do, I would definitely review those, but they probably won't be West End Game material, because I pretty much have everything that West End Games had published. Maybe not every lick of it, but 99% of it. Though there may be topics, I will watch other people's channels and videos, and then something will come up, it'll kind of flip a light on, or it'll give me a bug in my ear that I want to deal with it, or I want to talk about it. I want to give it my 10 cents, 2 cents, 20 cents, or whatever, and I'll pop up and do a video on it. You see those, if you've done any kind of searching of my other videos, and I've got excess of 500 plus videos on this channel. So it's a lot of stuff for 267 odd, subscribers. But hey, this is stuff that you may never had an opportunity to see in your lifetime, or you might have wanted to own it back in the day, or you did and you got a lot of use out of it, and then you shelved it or gave it away or sold it or whatever, because you moved on to the next generation of material or to a new system or a different system. It's just the idea of having it out there. It's in there. It's out there in YouTube land pretty much forever, at least in my mind anyway. Until next time, this is Rick, and I hope you guys have a great weekend.